out she was often called brave in her early days in Hollywood. Rebel Wilson tells People Mag, "Did I fight in a war? Run into a burning building? No, it was that I dared to exist in a town where only thin women were valued." Dropping on April 2nd, the 44-year-old star's memoir is set to air out her life experiences and Hollywood tales, and obviously drop a few bombshells, such as her strained parental relationship, which Rebel touches on quickly in her new book, reflecting that her parents, Sue and Warwick Bounds, worked on the dog show circuit and her family was, as she says, one baby step above being carnies. But we'll talk about that in our very last segment. She experienced a difficult relationship with her volatile father, including, as she writes, 30 seconds of terror one day, when she and her sister Liberty wet their mattresses with water to cool them down during a hot summer in Australia. To quote Rebel, "Dad comes in. 'What the hell are you two doing?' And he brings up his palm and he hits me. Whack. He hits my sister too," she writes. But as the eldest, Wilson says she was hit the hardest. After Wilson's father died from a heart attack in 2013, she wrote that she'd actually drafted up a letter that she tucked into his suit pocket. She forgave him and wrote that she would strive to find love and no longer be afraid of it. It'd be a long time before that was the case for Rebel, however, who would end up choosing to be a willful sellout in order to get herself on her feet first. In 2002, Rebel Wilson was a law school student living at her family home in Sydney, sharing a bedroom with her sister. While she wanted to be an actor, she'd been rejected 4, soon to be 5 times from Sydney's National Institute of Dramatic Arts. Instead, she spent, quote, "all my money on law books, acting classes, and starting my own theater production company." Ultimately, Rebel does manage to save $2,000 and use it to produce The Westie Monologues, a play that lands her a tiny role in writer-director Paul Fench's film Fat Pizza. As Rebel writes, "This is when she learned the power of selling out. My cameo in the film Fat Pizza was so memorable, I was asked to be in the TV show of the same name. I played Tula, the overweight girlfriend of Habib. I make myself as fat and sloppy as I can. I wear unflattering eyeshadow colors and ill-fitting tracksuits. I eat donuts regularly to gain even more weight." Not everyone loved watching what Rebel made herself out to be in order to gain her fame. Quoting her, "Mom refuses to allow Fat Pizza to play in the house," she writes. "She doesn't want to see it because I look gross and she disapproves of my swearing in it. I flaunt my fat stomach on national TV, deliberately making myself look bad for comic effect. Mom doesn't understand. She just sees her daughter looking unsightly. I see an opportunity to break out. I was the first reoccurring female character on Fat Pizza who wasn't a sexy blonde bimbo." And she adds on that my role was to be the big fat whale that got laughs, and I willfully played into that. That is definitely a path less traveled that Rebel chose to follow for a female comedian, and it's one that does intimidate male peers who believe women couldn't or shouldn't be this way, let alone be funny. Rebel shares examples of sexist experiences she had as a result in writers' rooms. To quote her after Fat Pizza, "My next big job was on a weekly sketch show on Network 10 called The Wedge. When I was cast, I was the only lead female writer and performer. The rest were guys. We all pitched characters and scripts we wanted to film, and I came up with some good ones, including Lucy Webster, Fat Mandy, and Carla and Kiki Bangs. I was becoming popular, and some of the men working on the show didn't exactly like the influence I was now wielding. To be honest, I think they were a bit shocked. I had 2 of the 3 highest ranking characters on the show." But by the second season, despite that high rank, Rebel writes that her popular characters and sketches were being ignored by production. To quote, "For months I would just sleep half the day in my designated office because no one was scheduling my sketches to be shot. There was nothing for me to do. I'd write scripts and they'd get ignored or rejected." Finally, Rebel confronts her friend working in production as to why she's being snubbed. "I blasted my friend in the office, which wasn't exactly fair, but these men were, I don't know, at an expensive boozy boys lunch across the street. I yell as I point to the production board of upcoming shooting days. I'm completely red in the face. I never ever yell at people. To me, this is level 100. I'm furious. My friend tries to say some bullshit like maybe my scripts weren't developed enough. I can't believe she's siding with those bad people. Later, I'll come to realize maybe she has a mortgage as well." Rebel writes she did never speak to that friend again, and The Wedge was actually canceled after its 2nd season. Ultimately, it's a good thing because it allows Rebel to make her big break, with quite a bit of fat shaming along the way. It was less than a year after The Wedge had been canceled, in 2008, when Wilson starred in Bogan Pride, a 6-part TV series that secured her a meeting with agents in Los Angeles. She went on to complete a law school degree at the University of New South Wales before moving to LA. On her 2nd day there, she's signed by William Morris Endeavors. Finally, after 29 unsuccessful auditions, she lands a role in 2011's Bridesmaids. The hit film effectively launched her international career, and within 2 weeks of its release, she's booked 6 movies, including Pitch Perfect. But in those 6 weeks alone, Rebel heard decades worth of weight commentary. I recall getting a lot of comments like, "Oh wow, you're so brave." These were normally meant as, "Oh wow, you in your size 20 body strutting down the red carpet like you're hot? That's so brave. Or, oh wow, you're so obese, but you still get in front of the camera and smile. That's so brave. I was really put off by these comments, which 99% of the time came from other women. Why am I so effing brave? Because I'm just me? Rebel writes, continuing that the way they kept going on about being brave made me wonder how many negative comments were these women getting about their bodies in their daily life. I seemingly didn't care about society's pressure to be thin, but that pressure was so great in women's minds that it was as if I was fighting a war against the patriarchal gaze. Worse yet is Rebel explained that there is no collegiate or no supports between plus-size celebrities in Hollywood, who instead often belittle or make fun of each other's weights to deflect from their own. To quote her, some actresses would get offended if I called them plus size in this book, so I have to be careful with what I say. This is why I think Adele hates me, Wilson writes. There was a moment when she was bigger and some people would confuse us for one another. I'm assuming because, to be fair, I've never asked her why she hates me. Wilson added that Adele always quickly turned away from her whenever Wilson was heading in her direction, to quote, as if my fatness might rub off on her if I were near her for more than 30 seconds. That she didn't like being compared to, quote, Fat Amy, Wilson penned, referencing the Pitch Perfect character. While Rebel only talks in a hypothetical comparison, as a human being who's been on the internet, I can say I've actually seen plenty of people in the past comparing these women, especially when they were famous simultaneously while looking facially similar and being the only plus-size celebrities in the spotlight of the time. Ultimately, Rebel would go on to have a highly complicated relationship with her weight and an eating disorder, a combination coming from her consistent typecasting requirements and her mental illness that launched her career. Rebel references this struggle many times throughout the novel, such as when she returned to her LA apartment after shooting Pitch Perfect. To quote, I'd had such a blast, made all these incredible new friends, and then just disappeared overnight. It sucks. The loneliness is back big time. I start yet another draft of my sitcom Super Fun Night. I order a family-sized pizza even though I know I shouldn't. I discover these amazing ice cream sandwiches in a shop down the road. I buy them almost every night, except for the nights where I'm trying to be good and I don't eat any junk food, only to obsess about the junk food I'm not eating, pretty much sitting on my hands so that I don't raid the fridge. It takes all my energy not to eat the sugar. Rebel writes that the binge eating felt like a battle between guilt and impulse. I'm Fat Amy now. I can eat this tub of ice cream, the little devil inside me says. They might need you for reshoots. You have to stay fat. You did 60 minutes on the treadmill plus weights today at the gym. You can eat dessert. You deserve it. But for every self-indulgent thought like that, Rebel had a shameful one. She writes, but I know that this behavior isn't exactly healthy. I feel gross. Maybe if I lost weight, someone might fancy me. I'd love for someone to love me. But then there comes that little demon response. Everybody loves you, stupid. You're Fat Amy now. Only to have the shameful part of herself reminder, no one's going to love me like this. No one's asking me out on a date, are they? Rebel remarked that in that moment, that thought seeped into her core. She hadn't been on a date in 16 years by that point, and it was a thought she couldn't stomach. In fact, Rebel wouldn't have a date or lose her virginity until she was about 35. As revealed in her memoir, she was initially terrified when it came to physical intimacy. I was either so innocent in my teens or so busy making myself look grotesquely unattractive for comedic purposes that no romantic opportunity ever presented itself, she wrote. Rebel shared an interview with People Mag recently, as well as how she'd previously lied and told people she'd lost her virginity just to avoid questions. The book details her relationship with producer named Mickey, who she met via setup and lost her virginity to during a fling while filming How to Be Single. Mickey flew in that weekend, she wrote, and then it just happens. I finally have intercourse. I feel amazing. I go to the bathroom and I high-five myself. It's actually that same year that Rebel loses her virginity, 2016, that she experiences harassment on a film set that she'd hide until 2024. Only vaguely alluded to before now, Rebel cuts through red tape in her new memoir and airs out how Sacha Baron Cohen made her working experience on the Brothers Grimsby predatory and uncomfortable. She says she felt humiliated by that comedian who allegedly repeatedly pestered her to do a nude scene in the film. It felt like every time I'd speak to SBC, he'd mention he wanted me to go naked in a future scene. Wilson went on to explain that while the film was shooting in Cape Town, South Africa, she was summoned by Cohen via production assistant, saying she needed to film an additional scene. Rebel writes that once she walks into his room, SBC pulls his pants down and says matter-of-factly, okay, now I want you to stick your finger up my, and I'm like, what? No. Wilson continued to write, I was now scared. I wanted to get out of there, so I finally compromised. I slapped him on the ass, improvised a few lines as the character. The Struck by Lightning star said that after the scene, she called her agent and lawyer, but was encouraged to be professional and finish the film. She writes, the movie bombed, which to me was karma enough. I'm not about canceling anybody, and that's not my motivation for sharing the story. I'm sharing it now because the more women talk about things like this, hopefully the less it happens. Rebel had just popped her cherry and obviously experienced some uncomfortable uncomfortable times along the way. But it would take her quite a while to realize she wasn't heterosexual and, to quote her, was looking for a Princess Charming, not Prince. After meeting fiancé Ramona Agruma, however, Rebel underwent the hurdles of fertility issues next, writing that in 2020 a fertility doctor told her only if she lost weight she'd have a better chance of harvesting quality eggs. But even after losing 80 pounds, a doctor told Rebel and Ramona that the embryo she created with the sperm donor didn't appear strong enough to be viable. I felt such sadness, Rebel writes. I'm so alone and I don't know what to do. After another round of egg harvesting, her last viable embryo was implanted into a surrogate. Thankfully for the couple, they were able to welcome their daughter Royce Lillian in November 2022. So, reaching the end of our video, I want to bring us back to 2015 and Rebel's very stupid scandal. I found it interesting to hear this Aussie actress was doing a memoir after she'd been prior called out for lying and misrepresenting massive parts of her life in the aforementioned year of 2015. Prior to then, Wilson was believed to be 29 and had at various points claimed to grow up in the ghetto with bogan, aka working class parents. It was revealed shortly after Pitch Perfect 2 by an Australian tabloid that Wilson was actually 35 and that her real name, despite insistence otherwise, was Melanie. Now at the time of this first revelation, Salon's Rachel Kramer Bussell commented that this is just part of the experience of being an actor in Hollywood. Creating a mythology is just a way to work your way up, she went on to say, inventing new names, backgrounds, family histories, and yes, ages. But then time dug deeper into Wilson's records and found that she did in fact lie about her background and family history as well. Wilson's real name is Melanie Elizabeth Bounds, and despite having told the Australian Women's Weekly mag in 2014 that it's actually Melanie Elizabeth Bounds, and the report also goes on to find that Wilson did not grow up in the ghetto like she told Ellen DeGeneres in 2013. She actually attended upper crust Tara Anglican School and lived in the comfortable Castle Hill area. She makes references to her broke parents who were just above carnies in her memoir, and it seems like Rebel might just be lying again when she does. Which, let's be real, a stage name is one thing, but don't lie about your biography because in this day and age, it absolutely will be publicly debunked, which it already has, and she's referencing a debunked story again.
Ellen DeGeneres, Jimmy Fallon, and Lea Michele are all celebrities who have been exposed for not being exactly how they portray themselves. So let's take a look at 10 celebrities who warned us about their co-stars. Starting off, we have Rebel Wilson. Now there's a lot of drama going on due to Rebel Wilson releasing a memoir, and it has shown us some insight into the actress's life. Rebel has revealed that her Grimsby co-star Sacha Baron Cohen is the previously unnamed Hollywood a-hole that is allegedly attempting to stop her writing about him in her upcoming memoir. He's hired a crisis PR manager and lawyers. He is trying to stop press coming out about my book, but the book will come out and you will all know the truth. I will not be bullied or silenced by high-priced lawyers or PR crisis managers, she said. Now the a-hole I am talking about in one chapter in my book is Sacha Baron Cohen. Now she went into more detail saying that there were some incidents on set. She also claimed that when she was asked to do reshoots, including for a sex scene, which made her feel uncomfortable on set. I filmed the scene after demanding rewrites, but I still had to simulate having sex with this guy. I still had to kiss him repeatedly, noted Wilson. She then told producers that she would not be doing any promotion for the film, and Rebel added, the movie bombed, which to me was karma enough. Now there's Lola Gondini. Everyone made fun of Amber Heard about her issues with Johnny Depp, but Lola Gondini had a very similar incident while on set with him. They were on the set of the movie Blow in 2001 when the incident happened. On the Powerful Truth Angels podcast, Lola said that the director Ted Demme instructed her to burst out laughing in a scene where Johnny gives a monologue. But she didn't know that Ted didn't tell Johnny about this. Johnny Depp, when they say cut, walks over to me, comes up to me, sticks his finger in my face and goes, "Who the F do you think you are? Who the F do you think you are? Shut the F up," Lola said. "I'm out here and I'm trying to effing say my lines and you're effing pulling focus. You effing idiot." Now she said on the podcast that this was her first day on set and the first time she met Depp. "This was my first studio movie. I've just done indies until then, and I have the star who I have idolized, who I am excited to work with, ream me in my face. The only thing going through my head was don't cry." Next up is Tina Fey. In September 2023, Rolling Stone published an expose about the allegedly toxic work environment on the set of The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon. Former employees claim that Jimmy Fallon dropped his happy and kind persona behind the scenes and was prone to suddenly becoming snappish and ill-tempered. Now, writers for the show also said that they received deflating feedback from Jimmy as well. Now, the Rolling Stone piece inspired Twitter users to start digging up old dirt on Fallon. New Yorker archivist Aaron Overbay's contribution was an expert from Tina Fey's memoir Bossy Pants. In it, Faye recalls how Amy Poehler immediately let Fallon know that she was not going to kowtow him just because she was the new kid in the Saturday Night Live writer's room. Poehler was ready to let her raunch flag fly upon her arrival, but apparently one of the newbies' crass jokes offended Fallon. He turned to her in a faux squeamish voice and said, "Stop that, it's not cute, I don't like it," Faye wrote. Amy dropped what she was doing, went black in the eyes for a second, and wheeled around on him. "I don't effing care if you like it." Now, Poehler seemed offended that Fallon was expecting cute comedy from the comedian. However, it seems that Poehler was able to get over her seemingly annoyance with Fallon's prudishness after she exerted her dominance, and Faye claimed that their relationship was amicable overall. On to Nikki de Jager. Nikki Tutorials, also known as Nikki de Jager, is a Dutch makeup artist and a beauty vlogger. Now, after she came out as transgender to her 13 million subscribers on YouTube, she was invited to Ellen DeGeneres' show. Now, as we all know, Ellen isn't exactly how she portrays to be. Nikki said that the friendly, welcoming atmosphere you see when watching Ellen isn't the reality in the studio. She suggested that Ellen was cold and distant when the cameras were turned off, and that Ellen didn't even say hello to her. She also said when she arrived, she was greeted by an angry intern who was a bit overworked, and that, in her words, "I expected a Disney show, but I got a Teletubbies After Dark." Nikki added that she didn't receive the same VIP treatment as other celebrity guests, saying every guest at Ellen had a private toilet, but she didn't, and she couldn't even use the closest toilet to her because it was reserved for the Jonas Brothers. Now, after she revealed this, Nikki's fans who watched the interview said they were inclined to believe the YouTuber. You can tell in the interview that she was so disappointed about Ellen, like, "It breaks my heart," a YouTube commenter wrote. "I believe her. Ellen just seems odd to me in a way I can't quite explain. Her TV persona seems very fabricated," another added. Now let's talk about Lucy Liu. Bill Murray and Lucy Liu worked on Charlie's Angels together, and in a 2021 podcast interview, Lucy claimed that Bill lashed out at her while they were rehearsing a scene together for Charlie's Angels. Now, Bill was reportedly frustrated with changes made to a scene in his absence from a previous rehearsal. Lucy then said Bill's comments were inexcusable and unacceptable. It said that he even stopped a scene in progress and pointed to Drew Barrymore, Cameron Diaz, and Lucy Liu, saying in order, "I get why you're here and you've got talent, but what the hell are you doing here? You can't act." But Lucy said, "I was not going to just sit there and take it, so yes, I stood up for myself and I don't regret it, because no matter how low on the totem pole you may be or wherever you came from, there is no need to condescend or to put other people down, and I would not stand down, and nor should I have." Then there's Tippi Hedren. Tippi Hedren became an actress after she was discovered by director Alfred Hitchcock while appearing on a television commercial in 1961. Now, she achieved great praise for her work in two of his films, The Birds and Marnie. With all this success though, Tippi revealed that Hitchcock made offensive demands on her. She said, "He stared at me and simply said, as if it was the most natural thing in the world, that from this time on, he expected me to make myself sexually available and accessible to him however and whenever and wherever he wanted." Now, Hitchcock's demands led to a horrible fight, according to her. She then told him Marnie would be their last film together, and later recalled how Hitchcock told her he would destroy her career. He said, "I'll ruin your career," and he did ruin my career. He kept me under contract and paid me to do nothing for close to 2 years. Now, Tippi said this essentially ruined her career as a leading lady, and it's such a shame. Moving on to Kim Cattrall. Sex and the City stars Kim Cattrall and Sarah Jessica Parker have been engaged in a long simmering feud. On Piers Morgan's Life Stories in 2017, Kim said that Sarah could have been nicer about her refusal to take part in the third Sex and the City movie. She also added that the 4 stars of the show were never friends. Cattrall went further in February 2018 following the death of her brother Chris. After Parker wrote a comment of condolence on Cattrall's Instagram, Cattrall posted a photo of a message that read, "I don't need your love or support at this tragic time, at Sarah Jessica Parker." Kim then accused Sarah of exploiting our tragedy to restore her nice girl persona, adding, "Your continuous reaching out is a painful reminder of how cruel you really were then and now." Now, Sarah has consistently denied that she has ever fallen out with Kim. Then there's the entire Glee cast. Now, it appears that the entire Glee cast had an issue with Lea Michele. Samantha War spoke up on her experiences with Lea when Lea spoke out in support of Black Lives Matter. "Remember when you made my first television gig a living hell, cause I'll never forget it, Samantha tweeted at Leah in all caps. I believe he told everyone that if you had the opportunity, you would shh in my wig, amongst other traumatic microaggressions that made me question a career in Hollywood. Now, Leah's close coworker Naya Riviera also spoke about her negative experiences with her in her memoir. She said the actress kept threatening to call SAG about the unsafe working conditions, and she also said in regards to Leah, so I guess you can throw a fit, lock yourself in your trailer, stall production, yet still allegedly find time to leak stories to the press. Next up is Freddie Prinze Jr. In 2010, Freddie Prinze Jr. joined Kiefer Sutherland's action series 24, and when he gave an interview about his time on the show a few years later, he didn't have anything positive to say about the star. Freddie said that Kiefer was unprofessional and that he hated every moment of working with him. It turns out that Kiefer was more than a little unprofessional while filming their scenes together. Freddie says, "That's not me talking trash, I'd say it to his face. I think everyone that works with him has said that. I just wanted to quit the business after that, so I sort of stopped." Freddie continued on in his interview. Yikes. Now imagine being so horrible on set that your co-star quit their profession. That is just so messed up. And finally we have Steven Seagal. Steven Seagal is notoriously difficult to work with, so I feel like if you still hire him, that's on you. Now, after hosting Saturday Night Live in 1991, Steven was banned from the show by producer Lorne Michaels because he was difficult to work with. While they never got too specific, the crew admitted that they did not like working with the martial artist and even found him annoying. Now, the show's cast and crew were on edge and almost ran an entire show without a host. Then fellow actor John Leguizamo opened up about working with Steven. He said, "I'm playing this master sergeant and we come in for rehearsals and he says I'm in command, everything I say is law, and I was like ha ha ha. I started cracking up because he sounded stupid. He came up and taekwondo'd me against the brick and hit me with his elbow. He's 6'5" and he caught me off guard and knocked all the air out of me, and I was like, why? Why'd he slam me against the wall? We were rehearsing." Now, in addition to getting physical on set, Steven is also known for getting physical off set as well.
Diddy's going down, or at least one could assume. After all, he's caused some vehicles to, and psychologically tormented the artist Cassie for an audience on Instagram Live. And now, well, he's going to court for some pretty unsavory stuff. And according to leaked documents, there's 10 celebrities he's taking with him. So who are these named celebrities? Let's start with Young Miami. City girls are not in Rodney Lil Rod Jones's $30 million lawsuit against the rapper Diddy, owner and operator of Bad Boy Records. He says his life's been determinably impacted since agreeing to work on the Love album Off the Grid. One of the instances that left Jones so traumatized, he states, was that Young Miami's cousin and/or assistant, he's not sure, tried forcing unconsensual relations with him. Jones says he was with Diddy, Young Miami, and the female cousin person on Thanksgiving in 2022. He alleges that Miami's cousin person burst into the bathroom while he was inside, at which point she tried forcefully touching him with her mouth and her hands. Jones attempted to get away only to have the woman persist him back into the main room. Young Miami is being called to court as a defendant for Diddy, but also faces questioning on the stand due to Jones's allegations as she was among those who were paid monthly fees by Diddy to work as his working girls. More on that in a bit. Cuba Gooding Jr. is an Oscar-winning actor who's also being accused of harassment, an essay by Jones. Jones states in his case that he believes that Diddy was G-wording Gooding Jr. to behave in a similar manner to which Jones accuses Diddy of behaving. Hear my playful language? Remember, this is a brand spanking new court case. We can't assume anything, it's all alleged, so take everything with a grain of salt. Anyways, one recording incident that warrants harassment claims from Jones occurred while on a yacht in January 2023. Jones alleges he was introduced to Gooding, who proceeded to grope him and try and touch him before he had to forcibly push him away. To quote, Mr. Combs had dominion and control over the actions of Cuba Gooding Jr. and failed to step in and stop Cuba Gooding Jr. from essaying Mr. Jones, the suit says. With multiple allegations in this lawsuit, including these, screenshots are also included that claim to show the moments surrounding the alleged incidents. Diddy's own son is apparently involved. Our next segment is on Justin Combs, who thinks he's something of a rapper himself, but he really just spends his time crashing cars and spending his father's money. But you know what? He might have also witnessed or participated in something crucial, as Jones alleges in his case that in September of 2022, a man identified in the lawsuit only as G who was a friend of Diddy's son Justin, was popped. During the alleged incident, Jones says he heard bangs while 2 feet away from the restroom at the Chalice recording studio in Los Angeles. When Diddy and Justin exited the restroom, Jones saw G suffering from a wound on the floor of the bathroom, at which point he offered assistance. Per Jones, Diddy, quote, forced him to lie to the authorities about the event, with police being told it was the result of a drive-by. A rep for Diddy issued a statement to TMZ denying the allegations, which they say are lies from a desperate person, referring to Jones. The lawsuit implicates Justin of also procuring girls for parties where Combs then actually apparently spiked people and recorded them. Ugh. Meanwhile, Stevie J is also at the center of an allegation. Bad Boys Records producer allegedly, according to Jones, was also being G-worded by Diddy, who used his quoted admiration of Stevie J as part of what Jones says was intended to leave to Stevie J's anxiety concerning homosexuality being erased. This is pretty whack. Again, reminder, all alleged, all speculation. But continuing on, Jones alleged that Diddy even once played him footage showing Stevie J like having intercourse with a guy. And Stevie J himself had to respond to this online since the news broke, telling TMZ his lawyer will be handling for this from going forward. Again, screenshots are included in the lawsuit in connection to this, and an adult film star named Knockout has been connected as well. In fact, in reality, to stir the pot, Knockout himself addressed the leaked screenshots on Twitter, admitting it's me amid speculation. So things are heating up. Meanwhile, Prince Harry is having his awkward youth years hanging with rappers pulled up by Jones, who cites that Harry in his court case, but not as a perpetrator, rather as a witness to acts done, which ultimately isn't better, especially given it's the context that there's some forms of trafficking charges the feds have laid against Diddy. According to Jones's lawsuit, first filed in February, Diddy's co-defendants were rewarded for, quote, participating in and facilitating Combs' trafficking venture by getting affiliation and access to Mr. Combs' popularity. According to Jones, Mr. Combs was known for throwing the best parties. Affiliation with and/or sponsorship of Mr. Combs' trafficking parties garnered legitimacy and access to celebrities such as famous athletes, political figures, artists, musicians, and international dignitaries like British Royal Prince Harry. Oh, there's the name drop. While it can be argued it's kind of deeply unfair for Harry to be singled out by name when he has not been accused of anything wrong and others aren't named, his naming in the suit exposes how interconnected the elite of our world are and how they can truly be anywhere with anyone. Don't think there's some posh people, folks. On to another industry notable. This time it's the former Motown Records CEO Ethiopia Habtemariam, who Jones says in his lawsuit visited Combs' house during writing sessions and social gatherings, and that she, quote, had a duty and obligation to ensure working girls and girls in general were not present, and that Mr. Combs was not spiking any drinks. Another staffer accused by Mr. Jones is Christina Coram. So in his lawsuit, Jones alleges he was once forced to work in Combs' bathroom while Combs, Diddy, showered in a naked glass enclosure, according to the lawsuit. When he raised concerns about these types of behavior to Coram, Combs' chief of staff, the lawsuit says she dismissed him as friendly horseplay, stating those acts were Mr. Combs' way of showing he liked you. Jones was also told by Christina, you know, Sean will be Sean. The lawsuit accuses Corman of aiding and abetting Combs' essay of Jones and working with Combs to groom him into a male-on-male relationship. Jones has also listed UMG boss Lucian Grange in his lawsuit, stating that he either, quote, knew or should have known about the drinks getting spiked at parties. Specifically, Jones says that Universal sponsors and Grange attended listening parties at Combs' LA home, where Jones alleges that working girls and younger women were present and that they were getting spiked sometimes. It's no secret that Mr. Combs had specific bottles of alcohol designated for females and other bottles designated for his staff, his artists, and himself, the lawsuit claims. Grange knew or should have known that Mr. Combs was spiking attendees through laced bottles of De Leon tequila and Ciroc vodka at ads. As a sponsor of these events, defendant Grange had a duty and obligation to ensure working girls and younger women were not present and that Mr. Combs was not spiking the alcohol. At this point, with names and information still developing, maybe we should take a second and probably cover what's going on. So let's dedicate our last 2 points on hashing how this all started. First, we're gonna start with how Cassie blew it open. So November 16th, Diddy's ex, Cassandra Cassie Ventura, filed a federal lawsuit in New York alleging years of violence. Her graphic lawsuit included such content as SA, domestic incidents, psychological and emotional torment. Diddy even blew up Kid Cudi's car to deter him from seeing Cassie romantically. No wonder J. Cole's been riding a bike everywhere since he and Diddy fell out. Diddy did what he does best in response. He denied, one for each D in his dumbass nickname, and he ensured she settled out of court with him, as Diddy always does when someone sues him. Go look at his track record. But it didn't make it go away this time. On December 7th, Tiffany Red, a Grammy-winning singer-songwriter, published an open letter to Combs via Rolling Stone, stating despite the settlement, Cassie's claims were all true. She even detailed a party where she claims Combs separated Cassie from her and their friends for what Cassie described in her lawsuit as a arrangement where you make her perform acts with male adult workers against her will. Red's graphically detailed public letter had power, especially as she detailed other instances where even she became victim to Diddy's violence just by being in his presence, which helped lead to our next segment and final, the other accusations. 5 days after Combs and Cassie settled, a former Syracuse University college student sued Combs for allegedly taking advantage of her and recording it in 1991, just before New York State's Adult Survivors Act on November 23rd deadline. A second anonymous accuser filed a lawsuit against Combs, and also singer-songwriter Aaron Hall, stating they had violated she and a friend, and Diddy even showed up at her house a few days later, threatening and harming her and the other victim to ensure they wouldn't share the story. Then comes December 6th, another Jane Doe plaintiff filed a lawsuit against Combs' Daddy's House Recording and Bad Boy Entertainment, alleging that in 2003 she was physically violated by Combs, former Bad Boy president Harve Pierre, and another unidentified man at Combs' studio in New York City. Since this fourth accusation now, Diddy's been falling to ruins. Hulu has canned his reality show centered around his family, Combs had to step aside as the chairman role at Revolt, and the liquor company Diageo asked a judge to prevent him from appearing on the new advertisement for De Leon. February rolled in, and on the 27th, Combs was sued by producer Rodney Little Rod Jones for $30 million for SA. The producer, as we know, worked on the Love album and says he was subject to all sorts of extreme crimes in a 70-page lawsuit. And then now, March 25th, the newest update. Law enforcement officials carried out simultaneous raids of Combs' home in Los Angeles and Miami, with Jane and John Doe interviews being conducted, and there's some more tea to come. For now, there you have it. The update on the demise of Diddy and his career. Remember to stay safe, everyone, and stay aware. Crime like this happens everywhere, so it's best to protect yourself however you can.
Everyone loves seeing their favorite Hollywood couples and how happy they are, but we don't need to see everything. Listen, I love Selena Gomez. I have been to every tour she has done, stayed up for album releases, dedicated Selena fan right here. But, and it pains me to admit, her and Benny Blanco can be pretty PDA heavy. I love that they are in love and I am happy for her, but sometimes things get taken a little far. The most recent example, or big example I guess you could say, was the photo posted to Selena's personal Instagram account February 12th. The picture is of her and music producer boyfriend Benny Blanco in an embrace. That's not the big PDA thing though, that would be his hand sitting directly on her chest while he kisses her shoulder. It's an intimate looking photo, that's for sure, and many fans are in agreement that the couple is super cute, it's just we don't need to see that half of their relationship all the time. One even commented that the actions in the photo were an ick. So I suppose the easy fix here for me is just not look at it and turn off my phone. The other photos, they were more chill. The opening image was a cute one of the pair cooking in the kitchen together. They both looked super cozy and cuddly with sunlight streaming in through the window. Then it was the cringe picture. Following that one was a photo of Selena leaning on Benny's lap, sticking her tongue out at the camera while Blanco was looking at his phone and appeared to be speaking. It's a cute moment, you can see his hand resting on her back in this one. The finale of the 4-part carousel post was a photo from the gathering of friends that featured Selena and Benny hugging in the back bottom left corner. It looked like Benny is giving a little kiss to Selena's cheek.
The post was captioned, "My best friend." Currently, comments are limited on Selena's Instagram accounts. You can only see comments from a select few, like brands and other celebrities. The hands on the chest pose seems to be a favorite of the couples and a least favorite for fans. They did it again almost a month later in early March for a birthday celebration for Blanco. A photo was posted. A photo was snapped of the couple with him hugging Gomez from behind again with his hand grabbing her chest. He was kissing her cheek and Selena seemed perfectly content, smiling big for the camera. The night was documented on Selena's Instagram story and featured her friends Nicola Peltz and Brooklyn Beckham. Before we move on from this point, I have to note that Selena wore an incredible red jacket this night. This is not important to anything, I just think the coat deserves a moment. The outfit is beautiful. Selena dedicated a March 8th post to Benny Blanco's birthday. The carousel of 10 images featured multiple snapshots of the couple together. The 9th was a more PG version of the photo posted February 12th. The other photos featured were generally pretty average, lots of cuddly kisses on cheeks and giggles. The middle of the pack, the 5th photo, the one that caused some eyebrows to raise and some pearls to be clutched. It was 2 images that looked like they were taken in a photo booth. The top was a sweet hug around the neck and kiss on the cheek. The bottom one featured the couple giving each other a high five with their tongues. They stuck them out to each other instead of the camera this time. We have no idea where exactly this photo was taken, so it might not have been PDA when it was taken, but posting it to Gomez's 429 million Instagram followers definitely makes it PDA now. The series of images were accompanied by a sweet caption that read, "Happy birthday, baby. Your emotional endurance, positive disposition, unbelievable talent that blows me away, undeniable humor, and loving, kind heart absolutely kill me. I love you," closing off the post with a little birthday cake emoji. Selena Gomez attended the Golden Globes this year and walked the red carpet in a stunning red dress. She walked the carpet without Benny, but did meet up with him after the event if the photos the actress and singer shared are anything to go off of. Some needed context from the evening is that Selena Gomez was nominated for the Golden Globe Award for Actress in a Musical or Comedy TV Series for her role as Mabel Mora in the hit show Only Murders in the Building. She did not win the award, but did post a photo later with the caption, "I won." She was, of course, not referring to the award, but instead her relationship with Blanco. The photo was of the couple kissing. It looked like Selena was sitting in his lap. She is still wearing her red dress, but has now added a black blazer, unclear who it belongs to. Reactions to the image were mixed. Some people really hated it. As the photo made its rounds on social media, fans were weighing in from all fronts. One writing, "So cringe sharing these types of images just to show off." Another, "She deserves all the happiness in the world." And then someone else writing, "Why is she posting like a 14-year-old with her first boyfriend? She is so cringe." It was a mixed bag of reactions, that's for sure. More photos of this backstage encounter were shared January 8th after the award show. They were tucked into Gomez's post about her night in general. Next to photos of Gomez on the carpet and hugging friends were 2 additional pictures of her and Benny. The first of the pair was very rated G. Nothing happening here, just a loving look and hug. It was the second of the 2 that got a little wild. The last photo in the Instagram carousel featured him hugging Gomez from behind while kissing her neck. Gomez was smiling and stuck her tongue out playfully at the camera. Listen, we should have known that this couple would be obsessed with each other and obsessed with PDA. There were signs. In March of 2019, Selena and Benny collaborated on the song I Can't Get Enough. In the music video for it, Benny is seen wearing a white fuzzy teddy bear suit with Gomez next to him in some pink PJs. The pair are standing on top of a massive bed. At this point, there is absolutely nothing romantic between the two, nothing the public knows about anyway. In November of 2019, Gomez posted a photo on her Instagram of the pair laying on the music video's bed with the caption, "I miss when Benny Blanco was a bear." Gomez is snuggled into the side of his teddy bear suit and Blanco has an arm around her. Even though the pair were not a couple at the time, this moment is definitely giving invisible string. Sticking with the cuddly theme, on February 2nd, Gomez posted a photo to her Instagram story of her cuddled up in bed with the caption, "Mornings with you." While no one knows for sure who took that picture, everyone thinks it was Benny. Who else would it be, honestly? I think what makes people cringe is that it's such an intimate moment and it looks like Gomez might not be wearing clothes, and fans wonder why we're reviewing such an intimate moment. Selena Gomez is cuddled up in a white blanket and you can only see her shoulder, so she could absolutely just be wearing a tank top. The photo does remind me of the one from the set of that 2019 music video, still cuddled up to something white and fuzzy next to Benny. Invisible string. Selena announced on her Instagram story that she was dating Benny on December 7th, 2023. She began replying to questions about the pair's relationship, dropping the fact that the pair had actually already been dating for 6 months already. Shortly after this, on December 13th, Selena shared her first PDA image of the couple. It was just cuddling, calm down, nothing to write home about, just a sweet picture. It was the next photo posted as part of her favorite New York Moments post from December 15th that was the first, I guess, warning that the couple was going to be hands-on and PDA heavy. The final picture of the group was a black and white photo of the pair kissing. Selena looked like she was laying down and had her hand in Blanco's hair. The scandal of it all. Other photos in the carousel featured dinner with Betty and some friends, birthdays, and coffee dates. Selena Gomez began her career on the Disney Channel. That's where I first became a fan. Wizards of Waverly Place was my show, Naturally was my song. This is relevant because the former Disney star and future Disney star and her beau took a trip to Disneyland together and were spotted in some fun, funky outfits. Selena in a fluffy zebra hat and Blanco in an orange and yellow extra large hoodie. The couple were again in their own world, cuddled up while waiting to hop on roller coasters and walk around the park. This one made some fans cringe because Selena appeared to be taller than Blanco in the videos taken of the pair. God forbid the woman is taller. The couple had been Instagram official for about a month and dating for 6 before that, before making their first official public appearance as a couple. They sat courtside at a LA Lakers game on January 3rd and could not keep their hands to themselves. There's lots of cuddling and hands on thighs despite all the cameras on the couple. Very tame for the couple and not as cringy as some of the previous things on this list. Well, when fans were critical of Selena's relationship with Blanco, the singer was quick to respond, replying to a fan's comment that Blanco cursed Selena and that this was corny. Selena wrote, "He is my absolute everything in my heart. He has been the best thing that ever happened to me. The end. He's still better than anyone I've been with. Facts." The couple's overall PDA relationship makes some fans cringe, not because of the actions themselves, but instead because of comments Benny has made in the past. Selena's ex, Justin Bieber, and Benny collaborated on the song Lonely in 2020. While promoting the song on the Zach Sang show, Blanco praised Justin, saying, "Justin is not one of those like cookie cutter pop artists. You know, they're like, this is my new single and here's my makeup line." Selena famously has a successful makeup line. Many fans didn't appreciate this comment then and brought it up when Selena posted the couple for the first time now.
Who could have guessed when Kensington Palace said Kate was at home recovering? She truly was at home recovering. I mean, maybe if we had a sick woman, wouldn't have had to get in front of a camera and beg us to leave her be. But that being said, it's forced quite a few to eat crow, celebrities included. One celebrity left to awkwardly apologize for their commentary was Stephen Colbert, who poked fun at the missing Kate controversies on his late night show with Stephen Colbert. In the wake of that monologue he had done, he was criticized by some for giving light to the frenzy of online rumors, but as of her official cancer announcement on Friday, there was a clamoring online for the TV host to apologize. So on Monday night, Colbert issued a full apology on his show, saying to audiences, quote, "We do a lot of shows and I tell a lot of jokes and I tell jokes about a lot of different things, mostly what everybody's talking about. And for the last 6 weeks to 2 months, everybody's been talking about the mystery of Kate Middleton's disappearance from public life." He continued on to say that 2 weeks ago, we did some jokes about that mystery and all the attendant frou-frou in the reporting about that. And when I made those jokes, that upset some people, even before her diagnosis was revealed, and I can understand that. He went on to send Kate well wishes, noting that he does hold himself to a standard in which, quote, "does not make light of someone else's tragedy." To quote him, "I don't know whether her prognosis is a tragic one, but regardless of what it is, I know, and I'm sure many of you, far too many of us know, that any cancer diagnosis of any kind is harrowing for the patient and their family," he said. And though I'm sure they don't need it from me, and everyone here at the Late Night Show would like to apologize and extend our well wishes and a heartfelt note that her recovery is swift and thorough. Some have argued it's a pretty mid-apology from Colbert, but he is a comedian after all. Now, Blake Lively was one I didn't actually expect one from, mostly because her poking fun at the Middleton mystery was so minute it was not really to notice. But her guilt made Lively one of the first to apologize publicly to Kate. March 22nd, Lively posted on her Instagram story, I quote, "I made a silly post around the Photoshop fails frenzy and oh man, that post has me mortified today. I'm sorry, sending love and well wishes to all, always." The Age Adeline actor is referring to a prior Instagram post, which was announcing an update for her alcohol brand, Betty Buzz, on the 15th of March, which made a subtle nod to the Photoshop frenzy online. Lively showed a photo of her head conspicuously photoshopped onto like a distorted woman's body, lounging by a pool with one of her Betty Buzz drinks in hand, as a pointed reference to the poor edited royal family photo, and poking fun even more so, she had commented as our caption, "Now you know why I've been MIA." Ironically named Pop Apologists podcast also released an apology. Lauren and Chandler, the two sisters behind the program, issued their apology while announcing they had taken down a multi-part series about Kate that featured some of the most widely spread videos during the height of the Where's Kate frenzy. To quote them, throughout this whole process, we knew there was a lot of possible outcomes. This feels like one of the worst, the sisters wrote on Instagram. We are truly devastated by this development, but hopeful to hear that the chemotherapy is preventative. Our admiration of Princess Catherine has never wavered, and we are now just praying for her to continue getting healthier every day. Similarly, we have an apology from journalist Owen Jones for adding to the commentary on Kate's whereabouts. After photo agencies pulled the Photoshop family picture from Britain's Mother's Day, Jones remarked on it and the kill notices with, "I'm so obsessed with this already, oh my god." Another post of theirs featured Jones sharing his skepticism about a photograph of Kate and Prince William in the car together. It's the same one the View ladies had speculated about, and we'll be talking about them in a bit. He wrote, "You have to be kidding me. That is not a public appearance, choo choo, all aboard the Kate Middleton Truther Express." Now, in light of Kate's admission of illness, the journalist was one of many to quickly come forward and apologize, stating he feels ashamed for the speculation and wishes Kate well. To quote, "As someone who speculated on this without considering it could be a serious health condition, I'm very ashamed to be honest, and all the very best to her," he wrote on Twitter. Sarah Vine is a column writer who had tapped into the Kate drama, and now this ex-wife of Leveling Up Secretary Michael Gove used the same column in the Mail on Sunday to apologize. She wrote, "Never explain, never apologize, the old saying goes. But there are times where one must do both." She continued to say, "We all to the greater or lesser extent owe the Prince and Princess of Wales an apology, myself included, for giving them such a hard time over that doctored Mother's Day photo, as well as Prince William's last minute decision to pull out of his godfather's memorial service." Popular online influencer Saint Hoax also issued an apology. They had been an epicenter for spreading rumors and crazy conspiracies, specifically in the forms of memes, making light of the situation to such a degree that when the news broke, the user was actually incredibly quick to share their shock and guilt, writing, "Yeah, I definitely feel bad about laughing at the Kate Gate memes," wishing her a speedy recovery to their 3.4 million followers to see, alongside a video of Kate's cancer admission video. Linda Nolan's also one of the few cancer-diagnosed celebrities coming forward to express well wishes. She told ITV's Good Morning Britain that those who commented on the situation and feel guilty should. They should also apologize and express remorse for their actions. To quote her, "Of course they should say sorry, but you know, sorry's an easy word to say sometimes, and they may be doing it because other people are doing it. They should never even thought of it in the first place, and to put down lies and horrible words, sorry doesn't cut it sometimes." The singer, 65, is part of the family pop group The Nolans, and she is also being treated for cancer, but in her case, it is her brain, bones, and liver. Addressing Kate's message in her video, Linda Nolan said, "I thought it was perfect. I'm suffering myself, and I listened, I took everything in, and she's so right for someone who is being diagnosed. Hope. You've got to have hope and people around you that love you." And that I think she did well in the fact that she came out and told us when she didn't have to. Who says they have to tell their life story? They're doing their jobs. If she wants to keep it a secret and keep her treatment a secret, then that's how she's going to handle it, and good luck to her. Well wishes also came from two other cancer-diagnosed celebrities. We're gonna compound them. That's Olivia Munn and Katie Couric. The Predator actress and still relatively new mom Munn wished for the best for Princess of Wales after the Friday announcement, writing in a tweet, "Thank you for showing what it's like to fight with grace and determination for yourself and your family. Wishing you all the best." Katie Couric, who was diagnosed with breast cancer just like Olivia Munn, but in September of 2022, wrote, "As someone who has experienced cancer, I was deeply moved by her comments, sending her and her family healing thoughts." Reality TV star and former Atomic Kitten singer Carrie Katona said she'd, and I quote, "hold my hands up," as she expressed regret for spreading conspiracy theories, especially if she feels, as a celebrity, it's so much easier not to. To quote her, "I'm no better than the next person. You pick up a magazine, I read about something and go, I can't believe that's happened to him. Then I read something about myself and I go, oh, that's a complete load of bullcrap. So I understand how we all get pulled in by it all," is how Carrie explained it. And it's a fair point. As a celebrity, you know how fans and paparazzi are, and you know that you don't have to tell them the full truth. You should be assuming that all of your celebrity peers are doing the same as well. But it can be easy to forget and fall into a rabbit hole of judgment or rumor mongering, just like anyone can. Carrie told The Sun, "There were so many conspiracy theories, I'll hold my hands up. I think I was one of the theory spreaders as well. You know, it was like the royal family are our family, we all think we know them, and I understand better than anybody," she explained, commenting on why people, especially Britons, felt so comfortable speculating as widely and as openly as they did on someone who's going to be their next queen. Everyone thinks that they know who you are as a true person, and I just feel like we've all gone down this rabbit hole and I got sucked into into. And that brings us to our last apologies, The View hosts. Theirs were offered up just this past Monday as Sarah Haynes, Sunny Hostin, and Farrah Griffin admitted that they were, quote, guilty of having gotten into the fun of Where's Kate, and stating that they should have listened to co-panelist Whoopi Goldberg, who had advised her co-host to give the royal family some privacy previously. The three had broken down potential conspiracies last week regarding Middleton's status following her disappearance from the public eye, including dissecting an infamously altered photo of her and her children, as well as speaking suppositions about potential body doubles that infuriated Whoopi Goldberg so much she sent the show to an early commercial break. I forgot something fundamental that we all know. Every person, whether they're a princess, somebody in a high privilege position, or just the person next to you, is dealing with personal struggles we don't know about. I send my love and strength to her, said Farrah. Meanwhile, Haynes called Middleton's diagnosis a heart-wrenching development, saying, "You never know what someone's going through. I've always questioned the way that the royal family handles women, whether it was Princess Diana or Fergie or Meghan Markle," Haynes said. "I was not blaming Kate for what was going on. It really bothered me the way it was handled. Whether it was my business or not could be debated." Anna Navarro also called this a teachable moment and that she learned a specific lesson. "When Whoopi Goldberg tells me to mind my own damn business, I'll mind my own damn business from now on. And that she's not going to weigh in on personal matters that aren't her business in the future. I'm going to shut my mouth," Navarro told the audience. That's a good lesson for us all. Shut your mouth. Mind your business. We won't have to eat our own words and feel guilty and then apologize in the first place if we don't say these things.
When it comes to observing couple behavior, the powers that be must have had a sense of humor to ask me, the long-term office single Pringle, to do it. Nevertheless, I did my best, did some sleuthing, and I'm here to present y'all with my findings. So earlier this week, on March 20th to be specific, Megan Fox made an appearance on the Call Her Daddy podcast, which in recent history has really been a hotbed for celebrity confessions. The one thing Megan was very clear about while on said podcast was that her romance with MGK will no longer play out in the public eye. And then she attempted to play the no comment card in a very cryptic way. If you're asking me, I think that the comment suggests they're no longer engaged. For anybody scratching their heads over the starlet's vague relationship update, she confessed that she can see how it's confusing for the public to understand, otherwise known as, "Go girl, give us nothing." Okay, how about this for proof? They apparently went through this massive fight and rough patch just last December. To be specific, on December 5th and 6th, both People and US Weekly ran reports from sources revealing that things weren't going too well. A source close to the couple told People that they had yet another big fight. It's always the same thing, they have severe trust issues in the relationship. It's been rough, but they're still trying to work through it. Whereas US Weekly kinda had some similar comments. Megan and Coulson have had a very up and down relationship. They're great one day and then fighting with each other the next. They love each other and have passion in droves, but that passion goes both ways. Apparently, they're still trying to work through their issues and work on how they communicate, but both of them have such fiery personalities that it's been a struggle. Well, that doesn't sound very optimistic. It sounds like they've needed third-party help a lot, according to my research. And while I'm not about to shame anybody for getting much-needed therapy, I'm right up there too, it ponders the question of just how solid a monogamous relationship can be if they constantly require someone to help them put out fires. A source spoke to Entertainment Tonight on February 11th about how these two are managing the relationship, saying Megan and MGK have their ups and downs as most couples do. They love so hard that sometimes things can be intense, but ultimately they do their best to hear one another and better themselves. They both want a happy, loving, supportive, and honest relationship. They sought third-party help in order to help repair things. Therapy and open communication play pivotal roles in the relationship dynamics, with the couple prioritizing constructive dialogue and personal growth. Seeking guidance from a trusted third party allows them to navigate challenges and strengthen their bond, fostering an environment where mutual understanding thrives. They like to share their thoughts and feelings in a controlled environment with a trusted third party to ensure everyone is heard. It's also a good way for them to develop plans to ensure a healthy future as individuals and as a couple. Which sounds all fine and dandy on paper, but I have a feeling this is a sign things are over. Once again, that's a lot of support you need from somebody that isn't your partner. Here's a curious question. So why didn't they go to any Grammy parties this year? The rapper wasn't nominated for an award this year because his last studio album, Mainstream Sellout, was released in 2022. He did receive a nomination for Best Rock Album at the 2023 Grammys, but lost to Ozzy Osbourne. Which, it's Ozzy. Even though the album did receive quite a few accolades, MGK did express some frustration with how his music was being received, especially the accusations that he had stepped away from rap. In an interview with The Hollywood Reporter in November of 2022, he stated, "I'm talented as F, and I added on to my catalog of 4 great rap albums. So what I did was I added on, never departed, left, or switched." But here's the thing, so yes, he wasn't nominated this year, but not being nominated is no excuse to not go to any of the after parties. I saw Keke Palmer looking absolutely fabulous at one of them, and she's never been nominated for a single Grammy. Come on, folks. In the same vein, if you will, and if you got that reference, gold star for you, the duo hasn't really been spotted together a lot this year. According to the timeline that Elle magazine so graciously put together, Kelly and Fox spent New Year's Eve together, since the pair was photographed in Aspen, Colorado, all bundled up for the cold weather on New Year's Eve, and it was a frosty one this year. But no other public appearances in January. Zilch, zip, nada. On February 12th, they had their first big night out of the year, attending a Super Bowl after party together. They were photographed partying with Taylor Swift and her lovely beau, which is a very smart PR move if you ask me. Fast forward a month later, March 4th, they touched down in Mexico for a romantic getaway. They stayed at an exclusive tropical resort, photographed by paparazzi upon their arrival, but that's it. That's all we got for a couple of months. It's a little slim pickings for the couple that is so apparently in love, so I'm calling breakup. Back I go to a point that I made earlier, they've been off and on, which is not a good track record for couples. Megan's had a bit of a history with this, and she and her now ex-husband were also on again off again. And well, I did say ex-husband, didn't I? The only thing we know for sure was when the engagement got called off last year, and then they got back together. But I got a feeling they're on the rocks again. Pardon me, I'm gonna be a little redundant for a second and elaborate on last year's breakup. Rumors about a possible split between the pop punk star and the actress kinda swirled around for a little while after Megan posted a cryptic message to her Instagram on February 12th, quoting lyrics from Beyonce's 2016 Lemonade song, Pray You Catch Me. Hours after that post, she deactivated her Instagram altogether. What was the caption? You can taste the dishonesty, it's all over your breath. To further ignite the split rumors, she deleted all photos and videos with MGK on Insta. And then all but confirms this year that the engagement is off? Girl, I'm sorry to say it, but things are not looking good. Okay, I'll change gears for a moment and focus more on MGK instead of Megan, because I'm a big believer that in any situation, the truth is always somewhere in the gray area between story A and story B. The singer-songwriter dropped the new song Don't Let Me Go and its accompanying music video on Wednesday, February 21st. So, about a month ago. The track features very, very heartfelt confessions, from MGK's life-ending thoughts to his lover's heartbreaking. The video is currently racking up a lot of views on YouTube. I think it's had over 700,000 people watching him re-embrace his rapping skills, which heck yes. The 33-year-old speaks of a challenging period in his life, with the opening lyrics addressing his mental health. Lately my thoughts eating me alive, laid in the bed thinking maybe the hate will finally go away if I'm not alive. And he does some things in the video that I can't talk about, but they were suggestive. I'm not going to talk too much about the It's absolutely awful, but it's definitely something that could take a toll on a relationship. I'm just saying. Remind me again how long they've been technically engaged? Or committed to each other? Right, a year. Now, I know in terms of celebrity engagements, that's pretty par for the course, but why haven't they set a wedding date yet? If these two are truly twin souls, and that's a direct quote from Megan there, we heard that on the podcast earlier this week, then why haven't they rushed into the commitment of marrying each other already? I feel like there's something else we don't know about this duo. Might it be, pardon me here, a PR relationship? Or a situationship that they felt pressured into making it look like there's more? You know my take by now, dear viewers. This relationship is dead in the water. It's a little out there in terms of theories, but I feel like MGK's crazy tattoo might be a sign. So back in February, he dropped this new look on Instagram, and in pictures you could see that the black ink saturates virtually half of his upper body, with some of his original inking peeking through strategically placed paneled gaps down his arms and in between a cross symbol across his chest. That kind of ink takes a lot of time to do, and what a crazy thing to do in my opinion. This man had so many tattoos on his upper body before that he looks like a cross between a sticker book and an Etch-a-Sketch. To darken all of that out and cover it up? I have questions. His decision to undergo this transformation was apparently a deeply personal one. According to his tattoo artist, apparently he had a spiritual consultation. We were told he explained to his artist that all of his tats were too chaotic for him now and he was seeking change and order in his life. So let me ask you a question, dear viewer. When you go through a crazy life event, like a breakup, do you ever want to drastically change something about yourself to rebalance or reset? I know a lot of folks feel the need to dye their hair, dress differently, or even get a new tattoo. And all this is screaming post-breakup mentality to me, albeit a bit drastic, but that's what you can do when you have the funds. And apparently the pain tolerance, since his tattoo artist praised him for this.
We are back to cover the actors that have led us into the mysterious world that is Hollywood. Here's part 2 of the top 10 actors who tried to warn us about Hollywood celebrities. Rebecca Ferguson has caught the attention of internet sleuths. She is one of the internet's favorite celebrities right now, so when she revealed that she was once screamed at on set by an unnamed but famous actor, fans were quick to scour her past films and point fingers. Many fingers are pointed at Hugh Grant. TV host and actor Jon Stewart did let us know know that Grant's on-set behavior wasn't the nicest in a 2012 interview. Stewart said the actor would never be welcome back on the show he had been working for at the time. He also remarked that Grant was giving everyone grief the whole time and he's a big pain in the— I'll let you finish that sentence yourself. Grant himself has admitted to his set tantrums. In an interview with Total Film magazine, Grant admitted that while on the set of the movie Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves, he lost his temper with a woman in his eyeline on the first day of filming. He went on to say, "I assumed she was some executive from the studio who should have known better. Then it turns out that she's an extremely nice local woman who was the chaperone of the young girl. Terrible, a lot of groveling." It's not clear if Grant is the one that yelled at Rebecca Ferguson, but Grant himself has admitted that Bridget Jones's Diary co-star Renee Zellweger is one of the few actresses I haven't fallen out with. So there's that. Charlie Sheen, who you may know from the TV show 2.5 Men, has a history of not being very nice to his partners. Actress Denise Richards let us know who this man is a long time ago. In May of 2006, she filed a restraining order against her husband, soon-to-be former husband, Charlie Sheen. The pair had 2 children together, one only 10 months old and the other was 2. According to the order, Sheen could only see the children if it was a supervised visit. Otherwise, Sheen had to stay 300 yards away from them and their mother, Denise Richards, at all times. The reason Richards had to get the restraining order in the first place was because Sheen allegedly said some violent things to her and handled her roughly. Similar situations would happen later on in Sheen's career with different women. Naya Rivera is most well known for her role as Santana Lopez on hit show Glee. The talented singer did try to warn us about another talented singer, Ariana Grande, specifically Ariana's dating habits. Ariana is in hot water right now because of her relationship with fellow Wicked co-star Ethan Slater and the messy timeline of when they got together and whether or not there was infidelity. Ariana's dating history hasn't really helped her case in this particular case, and Naya provided some insight on her history thanks to shared ex Big Sean. Naya and Big Sean were engaged in 2013, but there were rumors that everything wasn't going well. Naya actually confirms this in her book, Sorry Not Sorry: Dreams, Mistakes, and Growing Up. She wrote, "We'd been fighting for 5 days straight while he was traveling, and then on the one day that he was back in LA, he said he didn't want to see me. But Big Sean was her fiance, and Naya didn't just want to give up. She had a key to his house and she was gonna use it. She did go to his home and let herself in to presumably try and find Big Sean to work things out, but she was met with a pretty big surprise." She writes, "Guess what little girl is sitting cross-legged on the couch listening to music? It rhymes with Shmariana Shmonday." Even though she basically name-dropped Ariana and Ariana and Sean started dating that same year, Ariana nor a rep of hers have addressed the book. Though she did famously reference Big Sean in her song, Thank You Next, with the lyric, "Thought I'd end up with Sean, but he wasn't a match." Big Sean did address his previous relationship with Naya when he wrote the song, I Don't F With You. The entire situation was not the best look for Ariana, and it seems we are seeing the same thing again a decade later. This point counts for 2 actors because they were warning us about the same guy at the same time. Actors Jim Carrey and Cameron Diaz warned us about musician Chris Isaak way back in the 1995 MTV Awards. Chris and Cameron were presenting the award for Best Kiss together. Everything was going well until Chris leaned over for a kiss, and it looked like Cameron was not into it. She was leaning away from him, putting her hand up to try and block her mouth. It's a painful watch, to say the least. The winners of the category, they get announced, and it is Jim Carrey and Lauren Holly for Dumb and Dumber. You can see a smirk on Jim Carrey's face, the one that we all know now that means that man is up to something. The something in question for this award show was giving Chris Isaak a taste of his own medicine. While Cameron passed the award to Lauren, Jim and Chris shared a quick kiss. Much like how Chris grabbed Cameron, Jim grabbed him. The camera doesn't catch the side angle, it's switched from that pretty quick, so we don't know if it was a real kiss, but Chris is seen wiping his mouth after and looks a bit more uncomfortable than before. As Lauren starts her acceptance speech, Jim can be seen smirking and smacking his lips, so I'll let you decide what you think went down. Jim Carrey and Cameron Diaz did know each other before this moment. They had starred in the 1994 film The Mask together. together. Chris Isaak got into more trouble years later. In 2015, he was a judge on The X Factor and went on a bit of a rant with some colorful wording towards another judge after they had made a comment towards a performer. A lawsuit was filed against Isaak in 2013 by a former technician that went on tour with him. The people Isaak associated with while on tour were allegedly not the nicest either and used some homophobic language towards the person who filed the suit. It's not clear though if Isaak was part of that specifically. Kanye West has been making headlines for a long time now, but not always for the best reasons, especially lately. Kanye has been making some pretty controversial statements about the history of black people in America, saying certain 400-year-long bad parts sound more like a choice to him, but Kanye has always exhibited some slightly unhinged behavior and said some wild things. That 2009 VMAs moment with Taylor Swift is probably the most famous example. He was literally just a guy in the audience, not a presenter, not performing, just in the audience. Well, not for long. He jumped up on stage and then after his little speech, he was allegedly ushered out of the building. It wasn't until years later that we actually got clarification from him on why he decided to steal the spotlight like that. He explained all of this on Nick Cannon's YouTube talk show, Cannon's Class. Kanye said, "If God didn't want me to run up on stage and say Beyonce had the best video, he wouldn't have sat me in the front row. I would have been sitting in the back." But when you put it like that, point is, his most recent comments are still shocking, but more expected when you take into account past behaviors. Jeanette McCurdy also had some information to share about Ariana Grande in her own book, I'm Glad My Mom Died. Jeanette worked on the Nickelodeon show Sam and Cat with Ariana. Both girls had starred on different shows before this one, with McCurdy as Sam and iCarly and Grande as Cat and Victorious. They combined forces in Sam and Cat, keeping their same characters from before. It was slated to be a hit show, however, right as they were filming season 1, Ariana's music career started to take off and suddenly she wasn't on set much. McCurdy's book details how Grande used to regularly miss filming. According to the book, Ariana was missing filming to go sing at award shows, record new songs, and do press for her upcoming album, while in McCurdy's own words, she said she had to angrily hold down the fort. McCurdy does admit that a lot of her ill will towards Ariana was rooted in jealousy. She was jealous of the fact that Ariana was able to miss filming and McCurdy hadn't had the same opportunity to do that when she had asked to do that in the past. McCurdy writes that she had to turn down 2 features she had booked while working on iCarly because the team for the show wouldn't write her out of the episode so she could go and film. However, while filming Sam and Cat, Ariana would sometimes miss up to a week at a time. McCurdy writes, "The week where I was told Ariana would not be here at all and that they would write around her absence this episode by having her character be locked in a box? Are you kidding me? So I have to turn down movies while Ariana's off whistle-toning at the Billboard Music Awards?" Continuing with, "This is what it is. Ariana misses work in pursuit of her music career while I act with a box." Apparently, what really made McCurdy dislike Ariana and feel really jealous was when Ariana told McCurdy that she had spent the previous evening playing charades at Tom Hanks' house. That does sound like the perfect evening, but McCurdy did further write that this moment was what took it too far, and that after this, every time she misses work, it feels like a personal attack, which implies Ariana continued to put the show on the back burner. The 2014 elevator video of Solange and Jay-Z has now gone down in celebrity history. She gets physically aggressive towards Jay-Z while Beyonce watches without getting involved. The altercation happened after a Met Gala after party that year. It started with just verbal aggression on her part before turning more physical. Shortly after the incident, the trio involved released a joint statement basically saying that they love each other and are working through it all together. Even with the statement, everyone wanted to know exactly what had caused the entire thing to happen in the first place. Some people were saying Jay-Z said something inappropriate, some were saying outside individuals had made comments beforehand and the elevator was just the pot boiling over. Many people believe it was due to Jay-Z's infidelity, and that is the leading theory today. He did admit to cheating on Beyonce a few years later in 2018. Chris Brown has been a menace, derogatory, for as long as he's been well known. Rihanna warned us about the type of person he was back in 2009. If you have kept up with celebrity gossip, you probably know that Chris Brown was not very kind to Rihanna, and pictures of his aggression went viral. That wasn't enough for some people, and Brown was still outperforming around the world. Well, it actually was enough for the UK. They denied him a visa in 2010 because of the incident, but this is just the most well-known of his many antics and meltdowns. He's done a lot not, like wear racially insensitive Halloween costumes, really racially insensitive ones. He's allegedly attacked other celebrities, violated restraining orders, been arrested a few times, investigated by police, sued, accused of SA, pandemic partying, and even owning a restricted species of monkey. But he made headlines again recently for SA charges. The lawsuit has since been dropped, but it was for $20 million. You might know Bob Guccione from the 4-part limited series on A&E, Secrets of Penthouse. Bob owned the adult magazine Penthouse. The series is about living with him and all the horrible things he did. You also might know him as he was one of the big guys Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee sued over their adult tape. Now, we see this man for the terrible person he was, but there were always signs. The adult tape thing didn't happen until 1995 or 1996, and a limited series came out in 2023. But way back in 1989, adult film actress Anika De Lorenzo filed a lawsuit against Bob for harassment claims of the adult nature, alleging that he coerced her to engage in activities with business partners and associates. She did win the case and was awarded $4 million. But unfortunately, no one really listened to this entire situation, and Bob didn't suffer much from it. This was barely a dent in his fame or fortune at the time. He was at one point considered one of the richest men in the US and owned the biggest penthouse in New York, but filed for bankruptcy protection in 2003. The man was also known for publishing compromising, mostly clothingless pictures of celebrities and other public figures without their consent. That's why Pamela and Tommy were so worried when they found out he had a copy of their tape. He passed away in 2010.